What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, we're going to do a player profile on Ollie Gordon. I talked about him a little bit yesterday, but I want to go a little bit deeper. I think the number one question I've seen across all platforms is, what dude are we getting? That's the number one question. 2 years ago, almost 1,800 yards. Last year, almost 900. People don't drop off 50% of production. So what is that? Now last year, awful quarterback play. The line was bad, but also he was so good in 24 and 23, I guess, that everybody just keyed in on him last year. They were like, hey, we stop him, we stop the team. So you saw 8, 9 man boxes, and basically he couldn't get past the boxes by himself, which he shouldn't be able to. There was a numbers disadvantage, right? So the question is, which guy is he? Is he Doak Walker, All American running back, or is he a dude? I wish I had the answer. I don't know. I do know he's 6'2", 225, big guy. He's a really good run blocker, which is actually important in our offense because all of our running backs are small. So having a running back that can go in there, be physical at the point of attack, super important. He also, got to be fair, had a DUI last summer. Now, I don't drink in real life. I know this is a podcast kind of situation. I don't drink. So I don't have a perspective on this is why I stopped doing it. It's not a part of my life, right? I know a lot of people do. And most people are pretty responsible. They take Ubers, Lyfts, what have you. It's easy to overindulge. This isn't me judging them for it, right? What I do know that is DUI, if you break it down, is just bad decision making. Like even if you've had 2 or 3 beers, you think I'm good to go, you probably still shouldn't be driving. And I don't know how far he was going. I mean, he's in Oklahoma State, so I don't know how far distances are in Stillwater, but um, it's not a good look. I mean, his blood alcohol was 0.10, and then they did it again, it was 0.11. So it was a little bit over the limit, but it's Oklahoma. I don't know how things go over there. I do know that's a tough one. At this point, at that point, he went into that year as an All American running back. I have to imagine in Oklahoma, if Ollie Gordon's like, yo, can somebody come get me? The school will send somebody to get you. If not, just someone at the bar, like, yo, I know who you are. You're Ollie. You got to be kind of big guy on campus. Who was the best athlete at Oklahoma State last year? So the fact that you still drive home anyway, there's something there. Now, I'm also a big proponent in redemption stories. I think last year was terrible all around. And maybe the DUI funneled into the year. And so it made him a little bit off his game. I know he got suspended for it, or taken out of the lineup, whatever. It may have just hung over him the rest of the year, and then you had a couple bad games in a row. Then the team basically goes. I think they won one game last year. It's easy just to be like, "Hey, man, this is a whole wash." It just kind of all goes downhill. I am a fan of redemption stories, though. I think him being picked by us, a team of actual need, and I think his skill set is very versatile. That if given a chance to atone, that's the best word, to atone for last year, I think he can. I don't know if he can be the lead guy though, which I think is the number one question. Because if he's just going to be a guy in the backfield, because he's not really a third round back, he's not a great receiver, so he can't be that role. And you don't want a first and second down running back, I guess, that isn't like a home run hitter. Like it's a tough place to figure out where he will live, but I do think that he could be a big part of the offense. I do think he wants to be part of the offense. I do think he will take Alexander Madison's job. I said on this channel probably 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I don't get this pickup. I don't like it. I don't think he's going to be on the team. And I expect by the time we get into the season, Alexander Madison will not be on the team. I think Ollie Gordon will take his spot. But I like the idea of redemption. I think if that talent from 23 is there, I don't know if we can fully harness it because the Miami offense isn't really built to make a single running back go for 13, 14, 1,500 yards. That's not really what our offense is. Even when Raheem Mostert went crazy with all the touchdowns, he didn't have a ton of yards rushing relative to rushing yards, right? That isn't what we actually do. We have very specific schemes for running backs. They run certain routes, like little dagger routes and little screens. Like we do a lot of that to get the ball in the running back's hands. We're not the 25 carry. You know, they always say running backs get stronger as the game goes on. They start doing the Zeke Elliott thing, like, yo, feed me. That's not really our offense. That's not what we do. We will have to be up probably by 24 points to even consider doing something like that. So I don't know if his particular running style will ever allow him to be the lead back at our team. I don't disagree with the fact that he could be a lead back somewhere else. Just not really here. I do think he has a lot of upside though. He's got some I guess that's a checker pass with the DUI thing. And again, last season got to be a red flag. Your production fell off 50%. It's a lot to look into, but I do think there's something there. I like the fact that he's a better blocker. I do think maybe he could come in on third downs if we're like third and like maybe long, or we need someone to actually come in just for protection purposes. Then yeah, maybe he could do that and then leak out if we need to for a quick reception. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what he could be. I'll just say that. Now I want to break down a couple of our undrafted free agent signings. I mentioned a couple days ago that we signed a bunch of people, namely 4 wide receivers. 2 of the wide receivers have 2 things in common. One, very tall, 6'4" and 6'3". Awesome. We don't have tall receivers outside of Nick Westbrook, right? The second part is they're both really good at blocking. Now, for those of you who aren't super in the weeds with football, you just kind of watch football because you enjoy the sport. The Dolphins run a lot of screens on their team. A lot of bubble screens, tunnel screens, what have you. And what people think screens are, quarterback, get the ball as quick as you can to your fast receiver, let him get upfield. That's what we kind of break down screens. The real piece, the real like linchpin of a good screen is the people blocking out front. And usually on the outside screen to a receiver, it's actually other wide receivers blocking for you. Now last year, our wide receivers could not block. So a lot of screens that should have been 8, 9, 15, 20-yard plays were 3 and 4-yard plays because a wide receiver would get beat off the block and then his DB would tackle our receiver. It was actually very frustrating to watch because I would see the engagement. Like, okay, receiver on DB, we got it. And then I would see him get dish-ragged, and then I would see our receivers get tackled on 3rd and 8 and get a 2-yard gain and punt. And I would be like, if he made that one block, everything past that was wide open. But you got to make the first block first. There's some receivers that are great at blocking. Most receivers just try to get in your way. You don't even have to hold the block long. That's what's actually the frustrating part. For a screen to work really well, you don't have to block for a long time. You don't even have to block them all the way downfield. You just have to choose a side, turn the DB, and let the receiver do what he needs to do. That's all you need to do. You don't have to be a pancake offensive line block 15 yards down the field, punish him down, and be like, yeah, you can't do anything. It's not even that deep. If it's an inside receiver catching the ball and he wants to run to the outside, you just turn that DB inside, let him run outside, and then let your hands go. It's a beautiful thing. So both of these guys are very good at blocking. One is Andrew Armstrong. He played in Arkansas, 6'4". He, think of this as a really big possession receiver. He's 6'4", good weight, good hands, good catch radius, not a burner. That's probably why he didn't get drafted. Not super fast on the field, but 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, hey, throw it up, I got you. Jump ball situations, I got you. Do you need me to run 60 yards on the field and get open? Not happening. That's not what he does. But I can be a big guy across the middle. Think of like Keenan Allen probably now. Keenan Allen early in his career could do everything. I think Keenan Allen's one of the most underrated receivers. But Keenan Allen now is basically, it was 3rd and 6. Let me run 7 yards, box you out, catch the pass. He's not getting up and down the field. I think Andrew Armstrong has some of that in him. I think, again, Keenan Allen is great. But he has some of the similarities in his game, right? On the opposite side, you have Theo Weiss. He's 6'3", went to Missouri. He is a little bit better after the catch, but still not really a burner. Like he's more just like shifty after he catches the ball. Neither of these guys is like a top off the defense kind of person. They are more or less outside receivers that run like little curls and little button hooks and things inside the numbers, get the ball, maybe break a tackle or two with my frame, get down. These guys aren't going to break the game. That's not what they're here to do. But they do add an element to the receiving game that we currently don't have. All of our guys now basically fast, get down the field. Even Jonnu is a relatively fast tight end. We don't have just a big guy that's like, hey, I'm a big frame, Tua is a small quarterback. Give me more of a radius to throw the ball. Because right now, Tua is fitting the ball in the small windows all the time. And he's great at it. That's his best attribute. But you don't always have to want to do that. I don't know if either of these guys makes the team. I think if they do, they might be more especially situations, like goal line kind of packages. But what an opportunity, man. Like, you get to go to a team where there's a clear need for what your skill set is. I don't know if they're going to make it. I'm rooting for them because if you're undrafted and you get to make NFL roster and then you get to play, that's a fantastic story. So I hope the best for them. The other 2 receivers are 5'11 and 5'10, so I didn't mention them now because we have plenty of 5'10, 5'11 receivers. Just think these 2 being bigger, slower, and just bigger catch radius, physical guys is a different element to the offense that I think we probably should explore. Not necessarily with these two in particular, but just in general. So the question is, what are reasonable expectations for next year? Right after the draft, that's when your confidence is sky high. You start thinking, we can do it. We fill all these needs, and they get high off the sauce and start thinking. They start doing a countdown, like 120 days to countdown, and start doing little X's and stuff. Right? I think what's the reasonable outcome for this year? Had Tua not gotten hurt last year, I think Miami would have won 10 or 11 games, like we did the year before. I think that's right where we were. Tua missed games, we won 8 games last year. Not great. I think we are better in very specific areas now than we were then. I think the O line will for sure be better next year. I think Jonah's going to be good. I think Daniels is going to be good. I just think we're going to be a more fortified line. I don't know. Again, we got the Patrick Paul, Austin Jackson situation on the tackle situation. But I think we're going to be better overall in the line than we were last year. Defense, I think we're going to be missing some people. I'm less confident in the defense being good next year than I was the previous year. But I think overall, the team's ceiling is what it was 2 years ago. I think 11-6, 6 or 7 seed playing game. I think that is the most reasonable take. Anybody telling you 13, 14 wins is probably a homer. They could be, on that Dez Bryant. They could be on some of that. Or they just really think that Tua is going to take another leap, or in that the defense is going to just be sublime. I don't see that. I see a defense that's going to give up 20 to 23 points a game, which means we got to score 24 to 27 a game. So I think it's going to be a lot of offense. I think it's going to be a lot of high-scoring games. I hope in division we split with Buffalo, which we haven't done in forever. I think we could sweep New England because we usually do, and maybe split with the Jets. So that's like 4-2 in division. You got to get 7 wins for the rest of your calendar. That, to me, feels fair. I think because I think Buffalo's going to win 13 again. So I just think Buffalo's going to win the division. But play-in game, you hope, Texans in the first round, maybe. Maybe a team like, Cincinnati, Baltimore, whoever doesn't win the division falls into that spot right there. I don't know. I think there's, well, I guess if we're the 60, we'll have to play the winner of the division. So that's a different conversation. But I think that's the best case scenario. If we win 11 games, get to the playoffs, it's very matchup dependent. We have to go to Kansas City, go to Baltimore, go to Buffalo. At this point, this team to me isn't built to win that game. That's just what today. Again, things could happen. These guys could develop over the course of the season. Maybe these draft picks really hit hard. Ali Goran's a godsend, and we actually are much better than I think we are today. Totally cool. I'm making expectations today, April 29th, when I'm taping this. So I think that's the best case scenario as of now. And ideally, we get a favorable matchup, win the first round in the playoffs, and probably lose in the second round. That's the way the team is set up currently. If trades happen, if guys advance and get a lot better, who knows? 12-5. Maybe start challenging for the division. Maybe Buffalo isn't as good as we think they're going to be. Who knows? Winning the division would change everything. We win the division, then we could start talking about AFC Championship game type stuff. But it's going to be hard to dethrone Buffalo. We got to beat Buffalo. That's the biggest thing. I don't care if we can miss the playoffs. We beat Buffalo twice. Everybody's keeping their job. That's basically what the season is going to be. But we'll see. That's my prediction. We'll see how things go. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate it. Love and support. Thank you for the likes, subscribes, reshares, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.